The night was quiet. Only the wind moved through the trees outside the wooden cabin. The soldier lay in his bed, finally resting after a long day of patrolling the empty valley. His rifle leaned against the wall, and the fire in the stove was dying. He had learned to enjoy silence. Out here, silence meant safety. But tonight, silence felt different. He woke up suddenly, not knowing why. Something was wrong. His training told him so. His hand reached under his pillow, ready to grab the knife he always kept there. His eyes scanned the room, adjusting to the faint glow of the dying fire. That was when he noticed it. Someone was lying next to him. At first, he thought it was a dream. The warmth against his side, the faint breath brushing his arm, it felt too real. Slowly, carefully, he turned his head. His heart stopped. It was a girl. Not human. Her skin had a faint glow, almost silver in the dark. Her hair spilled across his blanket like strands of moonlight. Her ears were long, sharp at the tips, and her eyes, closed for now, were large beneath her trembling lids. She clung to him tightly, as if she had always belonged there. He froze. Every instinct screamed at him to push her away, grab his weapon, demand answers. But another instinct, one he didn't understand, held him still. Her lips moved. She whispered something, in a language he couldn't understand at first. Then slowly she spoke again, this time in broken English. "Don't move, please. It is ritual, survival ritual." His voice was harsh. "What are you doing in my bed?" She opened her eyes. They glowed faintly blue, reflecting the last light of the fire. "If I don't stay close, I die before dawn." He almost laughed, but the fear in her eyes stopped him. Her body trembled as if she had been running for days. Her breathing was shallow, uneven, like someone on the edge of collapse. He pulled himself free from her grip, sitting up on the bed. His knife was ready in his hand. "You're lying. Who sent you? Why are you here?" She pushed herself up too, her long hair falling over her face. She looked young, maybe close to his age, but there was something fragile about her. She wrapped her arms around herself, shivering as if the cold had cut into her bones. "My people hunt me," she whispered. "They call me traitor. They will kill me if they find me. But if I stay in your bed, if I share your warmth, I will live. It is our way. The bond keeps us alive." The soldier's jaw tightened. He had seen many tricks in war. A soft voice, a beautiful face, always hiding a knife in the dark. He did not trust easily. Still, there was something strange. Her skin really was cold, colder than anyone alive should be. And the faint glow of her veins seemed to brighten whenever she touched him, then fade when she pulled away. He narrowed his eyes. "If this is a trap, you picked the wrong human." Her lips curved into the faintest smile. "If I wanted to kill you, you would not be awake now." The words sent a chill through him. She was either very brave or very desperate. He stood, keeping the knife ready. "Get out," but she didn't move. She lowered her head, almost bowing. "Please, just let me stay until morning. After sunrise I go. You never see me again." Her voice cracked on the last words, like someone begging for her last chance. Before he could answer, the cabin walls shook. A sound outside broke the night, the crunch of heavy boots moving through the snow. He froze, so did she. Her glowing eyes widened in terror. "They found me," she breathed. The soldier's grip tightened on his knife. Slowly, he reached for his rifle by the wall. His training returned in full force, sharp and cold. He checked the safety, his finger brushing the trigger. Outside, more footsteps joined. Voices low, harsh, speaking in a tongue he did not know. Shadows moved past the window, tall figures carrying strange weapons that glowed faintly in the dark. He looked at the alien girl. She pressed her hands to her lips, begging silently. "Please, don't give me to them. If they take me, I will die. If you hide me, I live." The soldier's heart pounded. He had fought many battles, but never one like this. He didn't know her. He didn't know if she was dangerous. But one thing he did know, those outside were here for him. They were here for her. And if they found her in his cabin, he would be marked too. The doorknob rattled. A heavy hand pushed against the door. The soldier's rifle was raised, aimed at the entrance. His breath slowed, steady. Behind him, the alien girl crawled to the floor and pressed herself under the bed, her glowing eyes staring at him from the shadows. The door creaked. A shadow fell across the cabin floor. The soldier's finger tightened on the trigger. The cabin door slammed shut again. The hunters had passed without entering. Their boots crunched farther into the night, fading until only the wind remained. The soldier didn't lower his rifle until silence returned. Under the bed, the alien girl still trembled. Her faint blue glow lit the wooden floorboards. When he finally lowered the weapon, she crawled out slowly, her eyes wide and filled with fear. "You see now," she whispered, her voice thin. "They want me dead. My people, they do not forgive." He kept his distance, the rifle resting across his knees. His eyes never left her. "You didn't answer me before. What ritual are you talking about? Why my bed?" She swallowed, hesitating as if the words themselves were dangerous. Then she raised her hand, showing the faint lines glowing beneath her skin. The light pulsed like a heartbeat. In my kind, when the body is weak, it shuts down. We cannot heal without warmth, without a bond. It must be done with another. Alone I die. She looked at him, her eyes shining with quiet desperation. "It is not just comfort, it is life," the soldier frowned. "So you climbed into my bed because you thought that would save you?" She nodded quickly. "Yes, human warmth is strongest. Our healers say it burns like fire compared to us. Your body heat can wake my blood again. Without it, my heart slows until morning never comes." Her words were strange, but her trembling was real. He had noticed it, the way her glow brightened when she touched him and dimmed when she let go. Still, doubt gnawed at him. He had survived too many ambushes, too many lies on the battlefield. "And why me?" he asked coldly. "You could have chosen any human in the valley. Why sneak into a soldier's cabin?" Her lips parted, but she didn't answer at first. She lowered her gaze, her hair falling over her shoulders like a curtain. "Because," she hesitated, "because you were the only one awake. You keep watch. I saw your fire burning." He almost laughed, almost, but the way she said it, quiet, honest, tired, cut through him. "Tell me the truth," he pressed. "If I let you stay, does that mean something more? What does bond really mean to your kind?" Her eyes flicked up to his, and for a second, he thought she might lie. But then her shoulders sagged. "If we bond, I become tied to you. My life, my breath, even my pain will follow you. You could cast me away, but part of me would still remain in you. That is our survival law." He stared at her. The words were heavy, almost too heavy for the small cabin walls to hold. "So you're saying, if I let you stay in my bed tonight, we're linked, forever?" "Yes." She whispered the word like a confession. He cursed under his breath. The last thing he needed was another chain, another responsibility. He had seen what bonds did in war. They broke men, but outside, the hunters were still moving, their voices faint in the valley. She wasn't lying about them. That much he knew. He set his rifle aside, leaning closer. "What did you do to make them hunt you?" Her breath caught. For a long time she didn't answer. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, she said, "I refused the high ritual. I was promised to one of them I would not kneel, so they call me traitor." Her hands clenched against her chest as if the memory itself burned. "But if I bond with you, they cannot take me back. Our law forbids it." Now it made sense. Now he understood why she had risked sneaking into his cabin, into his very bed. This wasn't just about survival, it was escape. His jaw tightened. "So you've dragged me into your war." She shook her head quickly, her eyes wide. "No. I only asked for one night. Just enough to heal, enough to run farther. After that, you can forget me." The soldier studied her in silence. The glow of her skin flickered weakly now, as if her body was already giving up. He knew if he threw her out, she wouldn't last until sunrise. But if he let her stay, he might be signing his own death warrant. The fire in the stove sputtered almost out. The room grew colder. She shivered harder, wrapping her arms around herself. Then, with trembling hands, she reached toward him. "Please," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Just lie beside me until dawn. If I die, I will die with your name on my lips. If I live, I will vanish, and you will never see me again." For the first time, her glowing eyes glistened with tears. He clenched his fists. This was madness. Yet he couldn't ignore the pull, the strange feeling deep in his chest that told him if he let her die, something inside him would die too. He moved back toward the bed slowly, his rifle still within reach. She sighed with relief, almost collapsing, as she slid beneath the blanket again. The moment her body touched his, her glow brightened faintly, and her shivering eased. The soldier lay awake, staring at the ceiling, every nerve on fire. Her head rested lightly against his arm, her breathing softer now. But just as his eyes began to close, a crackling sound echoed outside the cabin. Not footsteps this time, something sharper. A voice, metallic, speaking through a device. "Target located. Signal confirmed. Move in." The soldier's eyes flew open. The hunters weren't gone. They had locked onto her signal dot, and now they were coming straight for his cabin. The soldier's finger froze on the trigger. He had heard many voices in battle, but this one was different, mechanical, cold, without mercy. Whoever was outside wasn't just searching. They already knew she was here. The alien girl clutched the blanket, her glow flickering like a candle in the wind. "They traced me," she whispered. I thought I cut the signal." Her voice broke. "I was wrong." He stood quickly, pulling her off the bed and guiding her to the corner. His rifle was in one hand, knife in the other. "Stay down. Don't make a sound." But her trembling glow betrayed them. He cursed under his breath. If they came inside, they would see her instantly. The footsteps outside grew louder. Boots scraped against the wooden steps leading up to the cabin. A heavy hand pounded the door. Boom. Boom. "Human soldier," the metallic voice called. "Open the door. We scan life within. You will not be harmed if you comply." The soldier's jaw clenched. Lies. He had heard promises like that before, and they always ended in blood. He looked back at the girl. She shook her head violently, tears in her glowing eyes. She mouthed only one word, "Please." He made his choice, moving. Fast, he grabbed her wrist and shoved her beneath the old wooden bed. "Don't move. Don't breathe unless you must." Her hand caught his for a moment, desperate, but he pulled free and stood tall. The door creaked as the lock broke. Cold night air rushed in. 3 figures stepped inside. They were tall, armored in dark plating that shimmered faintly with alien light. Their helmets covered their faces, glowing red eyes staring at him without emotion. Strange rifles, humming with energy, hung ready in their hands. The leader stepped forward. His voice was distorted through the helmet. "You shelter one of ours. Give her to us." The soldier raised his rifle slowly. "You've got the wrong cabin." One of the armored hunters scanned the room with a device. A faint beep echoed. The soldier's stomach twisted. The glow under the bed. They could sense it. The leader tilted his head. "Do not test us, human. You are outnumbered. Your weapon is useless against us. Surrender the fugitive." The soldier kept his rifle steady, aimed at the leader's chest. His heart pounded, but his voice was calm. If you want to search, you'll have to step past me. The hunters shifted, their weapons humming louder. One began to move toward the bed. The soldier's muscles tightened. He had seconds to decide. If they looked under there, the girl was finished. He needed a distraction. His eyes flicked to the stove. The fire had burned low, but embers still glowed red. Without hesitating, he kicked it hard. Sparks flew, scattering across the wooden floor. The hunters turned instinctively. In that moment, he pulled the trigger. The shot thundered in the small cabin. One hunter staggered back, his armor sparking. Where the bullet struck. It hadn't pierced, but it was enough to make them stumble. Attack! The leader roared. The cabin erupted in chaos. Blue energy bolts blasted from their rifles, tearing chunks out of the walls. The soldier dove behind the table, returning fire with sharp, precise shots. Wood splintered, smoke filled the air, and the sound of gunfire was deafening. Under the bed, the alien girl covered her mouth to stop a scream. She curled into herself, her glow dimming in fear. The soldier rolled, firing again, forcing the hunters to spread out. One swung his weapon toward the bed, too close. The soldier's eyes widened. He couldn't let them see her. He leapt forward, knife flashing, and slammed into the hunter's armored chest. The blade barely scratched, but the impact knocked the alien back against the wall. The leader raised his rifle, aiming directly at the soldier's head. And then something happened. The room glowed brighter. Not from the hunters. From under the bed, the alien girl's body shimmered with blinding light. Her fear turned into something else. Power. Energy burst out from her skin, rattling the floorboards. The hunters hesitated, their scanners shrieking. Soldier turned his head, stunned. Her glowing eyes stared at him from the shadows. Her voice echoed, soft but filled with strange strength. Bond keeps me alive. Bond keeps you alive too. Before he could answer, the hunters regrouped, weapons raised. The leader shouted, "The fugitive is unstable. Terminate both." The soldier grabbed his rifle tighter, planting his boots against the floor. He knew now there was no going back. The moment she had crawled into his bed, their lives had been tied together. But 3 hunters, in close quarters. He gritted his teeth. He'd faced worse odds before. Maybe. The alien girl crawled out from under the bed, her glow fierce now. Her body trembling not from weakness, but from rising power. She stood beside him, pressing a hand against his arm. Energy sparked where she touched him. The hunters hesitated again, adjusting their stance. One muttered in their tongue, alarmed. The soldier didn't understand their language, but he understood the tone. They weren't expecting this. He smirked. "Looks like you picked the wrong cabin." The leader's rifle charged with a high-pitched whine. "Then you both die." The cabin shook as their weapons fired. The cabin was no longer a home, it was a battlefield. The soldier dove behind the overturned table as blue energy beams sliced through the walls, leaving smoking holes where wood once stood. Sparks rained across the floor. He fired back, his rifle kicking against his shoulder, each bullet ringing uselessly against the hunter's armor. Beside him, the alien girl crouched low, her glowing skin brightening with every blast that came near. Her hand pressed against his arm, and again he felt it, that strange heat rushing into his blood. She whispered, breathless, "Your bullets cannot kill them. But my bond with you can give your weapons strength." He almost laughed, even as another bolt screamed past his head. "What are you talking about?" Her glowing eyes met his. "Trust me." Something in her tone, firm, desperate, unshakable, made him hesitate. He had trusted no one for years, yet here, in the chaos of smoke and fire, he found himself nodding. She pressed both hands against his back. For a heartbeat, his skin burned. His rifle vibrated in his grip. Then, when he pulled the trigger, the bullet struck a hunter's chest, and this time, the armor cracked. The alien staggered, sparks erupting as his weapon slipped from his hand. The soldier blinked in disbelief, then fired again. Another crack. Another wound. He grinned grimly. "All right, I'll play along." The hunters roared in their tongue, regrouping quickly. The leader barked orders, spreading them around the cabin. To surround the human and his glowing companion. The soldier reloaded, his fingers steady despite the madness. But his mind raced. They couldn't hold this cabin forever. Reinforcements would come. This was only the first wave. He leaned close to her, whispering, "If we stay, we die. We need to run." Her expression tightened. "If we run, we must. Bond fully. Without it, I cannot survive outside. My glow will betray us." He scowled. "Bond fully? What does that mean?" Her voice trembled. "It means, if you accept me, your strength becomes mine. Your life becomes tied to mine. We move as one. If you fall, I fall." The soldier felt his chest tighten. To bind himself to an alien fugitive? To carry her fate along with his? Every instinct screamed no, but the hunters were closing in. Already, their boots thudded against the wooden floor. Smoke thickened, and another blast rattled the walls. He looked into her glowing eyes filled with fear, but also fire. If he left her, she would be taken, tortured, killed. And he would be just another soldier who watched someone die when... He could have done something. His decision snapped into place. "Fine," he growled. "We bond, but after this you explain everything." Relief flooded her face. She touched her forehead to his, and for one brief moment, the cabin vanished. He saw flashes her people's towers of silver, glowing oceans under alien skies, her defiance when they forced her to kneel. He saw the moment she ran, hunted, broken, desperate. And through it all, he felt her heartbeat, strong and steady, pulsing with his dot. When the vision ended, he was back in the cabin. His rifle hummed with strange energy. His own body felt sharper, faster, alive in a way he had never known. Alien girl clutched his arm. "Now we are one." The hunters sensed it too. Their scanners beeped wildly, their weapons rising. The leader snarled, "The bond is complete. They must not escape." The soldier fired again. This time, the bullet ripped clean through a hunter's chestplate, sending him crashing to the floor. The alien girl raised her hands, her glow forming a shield that deflected the next volley of energy fire. Together, they moved not man and alien, but something more. He shot, she shielded. He struck, she fueled his strength. For the first time in his life, he didn't fight alone. But the battle couldn't last. The cabin groaned, flames spreading from the broken stove. The air thickened with smoke. He pulled her toward the back door. "We're leaving, now." They sprinted out into the night, snow crunching under their boots. The cold bit his skin, but her warmth against him kept his blood running hot. Behind them, the cabin collapsed in fire. The hunters emerged seconds later, their red eyes glowing in the darkness. More figures appeared at the tree line, their armor reflecting the moonlight. The soldier cursed. "They've got the whole valley locked down." The alien girl gasped for breath, clutching his hand. "Then we need the cliffs, only way out." She pointed toward the jagged ridge that loomed in the distance, its edges sharp like teeth against the sky. He narrowed his eyes. "That's a death climb." She shook her head. "With the bond, we can make it. Without it, we're already dead." The hunters spread out, cutting off every path but the cliffs. Their voices rose in unison, cold and mechanical. Fugitive secured. Human compromised. Termination protocol activated. The soldier gritted his teeth, tightening his grip on his rifle. He pulled her closer, ready to run. But then he froze. High above the ridge, more lights flickered. Not torches, not fire, ships. 3 massive crafts drifted into view, their shadows swallowing the stars. Reinforcements. The alien girls. Glow dimmed in terror. They brought the sky hunters. The soldier's heart sank. What they had faced in the cabin was nothing compared to what waited above. The night sky was no longer theirs. The 3 alien ships hovered like silent predators, their lights scanning the valley. Beams of red swept across the snow, searching every tree, every shadow. The soldier and the alien girl pressed low against the frozen ground, their breath clouding in the air. "Keep moving," he whispered. "If we stop, we're done." Her glowing eyes darted upward at the ships. The sky hunters never come for one fugitive. They want something bigger. They want use. Her words dug into him. He didn't want to believe it, but the truth was, her bond with him had changed something. If her people had sent warships, then she wasn't just a runaway girl. She was something far more dangerous. They reached the base of the cliffs. Jagged rock rose above them, black against the pale snow. The path upward was steep, broken, and deadly. "You weren't joking," he muttered. "This climb will kill." "US." She touched his arm, her glow faint but steady. "Not if we climb together. The bond will hold us." He almost laughed, but there was no time for doubt. The hunters were coming. He could hear their boots crunching closer, their distorted voices carrying through the night. With a deep breath, he slung his rifle across his back and began climbing. His hands gripped the icy stone, boots scraping against narrow footholds. The alien girl moved beside him, her small hands glowing as they touched the rock, leaving faint trails of light. For a few minutes, there was only the sound of their breathing and the scrape of stone. For a moment, he thought they might actually make it. Then the first energy blast struck. The cliff shook as blue fire slammed into the rocks, showering them with shards of ice and stone. The soldier cursed, pulling the girl close as another blast barely missed her shoulder. "They're firing at the cliff to bring us down," he shouted. Her glow flared brighter. She pressed her palms to the stone, and a thin barrier of light shimmered, blocking the next bolt. But each hit weakened her. He could feel it, the way her strength bled into his veins even as her body trembled. "Don't burn yourself out," he growled. I must," she whispered. "If they break the cliff, we fall." They climbed higher, the snow whipping against their faces. The soldier's muscles burned, but the bond gave him something extra: endurance that wasn't his alone. Halfway up, they reached a ledge and collapsed against the stone. For a second, they caught their breath. That was when he saw it. Not all hunters were below. One stood above them, waiting on the ridge. His armor gleamed, his weapon raised. The soldier's blood ran cold. "They've got us trapped." The alien girl looked up, her eyes wide. Then something strange passed over her face recognition. "I know him," she whispered. "He was the one I was promised to." The soldier stiffened. "What?" "Her." Voice shook. "The high ritual. He was to be my bond. I refused him. That's why I ran." The hunter above shouted something in their alien tongue, his voice filled with rage. The girl flinched at the sound, clutching the soldier's arm. The hunter raised his weapon, aiming at the human. The message was clear: give her up or die. The soldier tightened his grip on his rifle. His instincts screamed to fight, but his chest tightened with something else, a flicker of doubt. If she had lied before, if she had hidden this from him, then maybe everything was a trick. Maybe sneaking into his bed, begging for warmth, claiming survival, it was all part of her escape plan. Her glowing eyes locked on him, wide and desperate. "Please, don't let him take me." The soldier's breath came hard. His rifle was steady, but his mind wasn't. She hadn't told him the truth. She had dragged him into this war, into this bond, without giving him the whole story. For the first time since meeting her, he hesitated. And in that hesitation, betrayal seeped in. He pulled his rifle up, aimed it, not at the hunter above, but at her. Her face froze. "No, please." The bond pulsed between them, sharp and painful, as if it knew what he was about to do. Behind them, energy blasts struck the cliff again. The hunters below were closing in. The hunter above shouted with fury, his weapon charging. The soldier's finger curled on the trigger. Asterisk. The gunshot echoed across the cliffs. Snow tumbled loose, scattering into the dark valley below. For a breathless moment, silence followed, heavy and endless. The soldier lowered his rifle. The hunter above staggered back, a smoking hole through his shoulder plate. He hadn't killed the alien girl. He had chosen her side. The hunter roared in fury, his weapon slipping from his grip as he clutched the wound. His red eyes glowed brighter, filled with rage. The soldiers climbing from below shouted in their alien tongue, scrambling faster up the cliffs. The soldier turned to the girl. Her glowing eyes were wide, trembling. Not with fear, this time with something else. "You chose." "Me," she whispered. He pulled her up roughly, his voice sharp. "Don't mistake this for trust. You still haven't told me everything." They scrambled higher, stones cracking beneath their boots. The air grew colder, sharper as the ridge neared. Behind them, blasts of blue fire shook the rocks, sending shards spinning past their faces. Finally, they reached a shallow cave cut into the ridge. The soldier dragged her inside. The darkness wrapped around them, broken only by her faint glow. He raised his rifle at the entrance, waiting, listening. The hunters' voices echoed, but they didn't follow yet. Perhaps they regrouped. Perhaps. They waited. Either way, he knew they didn't have long. He turned to her, his eyes hard. "Now talk, no more half-truths. Who are you really? Why are they chasing you with ships, soldiers, hunters? What makes you worth this much blood?" The girl sank to her knees, her hands pressed against her face. For the first time since she entered his bed, she looked small, not mysterious, not powerful, just broken. "My name is not allowed to be spoken anymore," she whispered. "But once I was a daughter of the High Seat." The soldier's grip tightened on his rifle. High Seat. He didn't know their politics, but he knew enough. That sounded like royalty. "You're a princess," he muttered. Her tears glistened, falling like drops of light. "Not anymore. I refused the right. They wanted me to bond with him, the hunter you saw. It was not a choice, it was chains. If I had accepted, I would have been locked forever to someone I did not love. I fled instead. That made me traitor." The soldier's breath came slow. He had fought wars over crowns, seen soldiers bleed for rulers who never cared. And now, somehow, he had dragged royalty into his bed. He should have left her. He should have ended it. But the bond pulsed between them, strong, unbreakable. Her heartbeat echoed inside him. "You lied to me," he said coldly. "I hid it," she corrected, her voice shaking. "Because I feared if you knew, you would turn me in for a reward." Many humans would. His eyes narrowed. "And why didn't? You think I'd still do that?" She lifted her face, glowing eyes locking with his. "Because you didn't the moment you found me. You had every chance to hand me over. Instead, you stood between me and them. That is why I chose your bed. That is why I gave you my bond." The cave trembled as a blast struck outside. Snow fell from the ceiling in small showers. The hunters were close again. He lowered the rifle, but only slightly. "So now what?" "They'll never stop hunting you. And because of this bond, they'll never stop hunting me either." Her lips trembled. "I can break it." His chest tightened. "You said it was permanent." "It is. But I can take your half into me. It will kill me. But free you." The words hit harder than any bullet. She lowered her head. "If you wish it, I will end it tonight. You live, I die. The hunters will leave you." For a long moment, the soldier said nothing. The choice clawed at him. Freedom or this fragile, glowing girl who had snuck into his life without warning. But before he could answer, a new sound shook the cave. Not footsteps, not weapons. Something deeper. A ship descended just outside, its shadow swallowing the ridge. The cave lit up red as the entrance glowed with targeting beams. The girl gasped, clutching his sleeve. It's not soldiers this time, it's him, the chosen bond. The wounded hunter stepped into the glow, his silver-marked armor gleaming, his wound sealed with alien tech. His voice boomed through the cave. You bonded with a human. That makes you filth. I will break him in front of you. Then you will crawl back and beg for what you refused. The soldier raised his rifle, jaw tight. The girl pressed against him, her glow burning brighter, her tears hot against his arm. You cannot win against him, she whispered. Not without giving yourself fully to me, his heart thudded. And what does that mean? Her lips brushed his ear, trembling words slipping out. It means surrendering. It means no walls between us. It means your strength is mine. And mine is yours, forever. The hunter's red eyes flared. He stepped closer, weapon raised. The soldier tightened his grip on his rifle, breath heavy. Between betrayal and truth, between freedom and chains, only one path remained. The cave glowed red, painted in the hunter's rage. His weapon hummed with deadly energy, the walls trembling with every step he took. Snow fell in thin streams from the ceiling, scattering across the stone floor. The soldier stood firm, rifle ready, but his heart was at war. The alien girl clung to his sleeve, her glow burning brighter than ever. Her voice was urgent, breaking with fear. You cannot face him alone. His strength, it is beyond yours. If you want to live, if you want us to live, you must give me everything. The soldier's jaw tightened. You're asking me to surrender myself to you. Her glowing eyes met his. Not surrender, trust. The hunter's voice cracked through the cave, harsh and bitter. You dare defile our right with a human? You chose filth over destiny. Tonight both of you die. He raised his weapon. The soldier pulled the alien girl behind him. His rifle trembled in his hands, not from fear, but from the storm inside. He had never trusted anyone. Not commanders, not leaders, not lovers. He had always carried his battles alone. And now, in this frozen cave, a stranger asked him to share everything his. Life, his soul, his strength. He looked at her one last time. Her glow pulsed with hope, her breath quick, her hand reaching for his dot, and he chose. He grabbed her wrist, pressed his forehead against hers. The bond flared, no longer faint, no longer half. It roared like fire through his veins, crashing into his chest. The cave exploded with light. He staggered, gasping, as visions filled him. Not just her memories this time, but something greater. He saw her world burning under the rule she had fled, the chains she had broken, the cruelty of the hunter who now stalked them. He saw himself through her eyes, cold, scarred, yet filled with something she had never known, choice, freedom. When the visions faded, he was no longer just himself. Their hearts beat as one, their breaths matched. Her glow now burned across his skin, veins of light trailing up his arms. His rifle hummed with strange energy, alive in his grip. The hunter recoiled, his red eyes flashing. Impossible. Full bond with a human? The soldier smirked coldly. Guess you've never fought one of us before. The hunter roared and charged. His blade of pure energy sliced down, the heat scalding the air. The soldier moved with speed that wasn't his alone. He caught the strike on his rifle, sparks showering the cave. The girl's glow surged, wrapping him in a shield of light that held firm against the hunter's power. He countered, swinging the rifle butt hard, cracking the hunter's helmet. The alien staggered back, roaring in fury. Below, other hunters began climbing faster, their shouts echoing. The skyships hummed above, weapons charging. The entire ridge was about to be consumed in fire. The girl gasped, clutching his arm. If we stay, we die. We must leap. His eyes widened. Leap? We're on a cliff. Her grip tightened. With the bond, we can survive. Trust me. The hunter lunged again, his weapon raised for the killing blow. The soldier didn't hesitate. This time, he wrapped an arm around the glowing girl, turned his back on the hunter and jumped. The world spun. The wind tore at their faces. The valley rushed up like an open grave, but just as the ground neared, her glow flared brighter, wrapping them both in a cocoon of light. They struck the snow with force, but the bond held. Instead of death, they rolled, alive, breathless, hidden. Beneath the ridge's shadow. Above, the hunter howled in rage, his voice echoing through the cliffs. The skyships fired into the empty cave, explosions shaking the mountainside. The soldier lay in the snow, chest heaving. The girl's face hovered close, her glow softer now, tears shining on her cheeks. "You trusted me," she whispered. He nodded. "Once. Don't make me regret it." She smiled faintly. "I won't." But their moment was short. The hunters were still searching. The skyships circled, their red beams sweeping lower. The bond had saved them once, but war was far from over. The soldier tightened his grip on his rifle. He wasn't just protecting her anymore. The bond had made them one, and anyone who wanted to take her would have to go through him. He stood. Snow falling around him like ash. The alien girl rose at his side, her glow lighting the dark. Together, they faced the valley, hunters closing in from every side. He smirked grimly. "Let them come,"